Let's see. I'll try again. Okay, dokie. I'm trying to accept you. Okay, try again. Huh, that's not helpful. Okay, I'm gonna try to invite you. Oh, you
Hello.
there? Hey,
Can you
I
hear me?
know. Look at us, both in the car
I know.
today.
I saw you in the car. I'm like always on the go.
I know. Today it's soccer day for my
Oh,
son, so
that was yesterday and tomorrow. Now we're skating. So I'm taking a little intermission.
nice, cool. All right. So today we're gonna talk about you. We're gonna
Yeah.
talk about health coaching and sort of your story, how you got here, and
hmm
all that good stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to start with a question about who are you? Simple.
Well, I'm Chatela. I'm from Georgia. I pretty much lived here like all my life, with the exception of maybe a year. When I was flying with Delta, I lived in New York for a little bit. Um, let's see. I am currently working as a health coach. I've been doing that since 2019.
Mm-hmm. We're frozen, at least on my screen. We're frozen. Mm. I'll just be patient.
Okay, are you there? I don't know
I
what happened.
am.
Kicked me off.
I know. I don't know. I'm in a weird place too, so it could have been me. But okay. But I heard, because I didn't know that you lived in New
Yeah.
York for a year. But you went to New York and then you came back here, and then what else?
Yeah, so I came back here, but I was saying I'm a mom. I have two boys, 5. One just turned 7 on Valentine's Day, so I've been in a little bit of a mood about them being too big, too fast. And my heart is for helping women, specifically single moms, because that's been my journey the last 4-ish years. So that's a big part of my heart, and I feel like a big part of my purpose. And I'm still trying to figure out all the components of that and what that's going to look like. But I have written a book for single moms. Um, so yeah, now I'm in this health and wellness space, and really just trying to like promote this message of like genuinely like live your best life from the inside out. So I guess that's a little
Yeah.
synopsis.
A little synopsis. Curious to know why you decided to go into health coaching in the first place.
This is a great question because I had no idea about health coaching at all. And I mentioned this on a live before. I think I received like a random email or came across like an ad or something like that on YouTube. And then I went down this whole rabbit hole and I found out about health coaching and like the specific program that I did. And at the time that I was looking into this, it was literally the day after I had separated from my ex-husband. And I had like all of this clarity that I hadn't had in years. I felt like this just weight was lifted off of me. Although I was in a very low place, this was honestly the lowest I've ever been, like in life. And so when I started the journey as a health coach, it was really like cathartic to be going through this process where I'm like focusing on, well, I guess I won't say that I was focusing on my health and wellness at that time, but I was learning how to focus on my health and wellness and what true health really meant. And that it was far more than like what I was eating, that it really was compromised of like my relationships and my career and all these other things, which to me was super, I guess, eye opening because I saw how damaging to my health and well being a bad relationship could be.
Mm.
And so it was eye-opening that like, wow, like health really is so much more than eating a kale salad.
Mm-hmm.
So from there I was like sold,
Mm-hmm.
and I like never looked back.
You know, I really like the fact that you bring this up because oftentimes, as a physician, people are always making assumptions about what it is, the totality of what it is that I do in medicine. And one of the things that I really loved about health coaching was is that health coaching allowed me to sort of step outside of sort of the typical medical realm to explore these other sort of, I mean, it's weird that it's considered alternative
Mm-hmm.
to talk about your relationships or talking about how you manage stress or talking about anything that isn't food and exercise, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what do you think was the most sort of eye-opening sort of intervention that you understand now to affect people's health? Sorry, I'm looking, my kid disappeared. um, that you find to impact health and health of your clients that wasn't necessarily either obvious to you in the beginning or that sort of changed the way you saw health. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't necessarily know, I guess, if it would be considered an intervention, but probably the biggest eye opener was the epigenetics, right? That we have the ability to control our health. We're not just victims to our family histories, what we've seen around us, what's in our communities, or anything like that. Literally, you have the ability based on what you put in your mouth, what you choose to put in your mouth, of what type of life you will have, what kind of disease you will or will not have. I think that was the biggest thing for me, because honestly, I just thought like everybody else thought, like if this is what ran in your family, then probably at some point you were going to get it too. So for me, it was diabetes, it was high blood pressure. And so I guess I just maybe somewhere in the back of my head just thought that would be my story, you know. So learning that no, actually that's not how it works. You are
Mm-hmm.
far more controlled than you think that you are. That was probably the biggest thing for me, and the biggest thing that I like to share with clients. Like, that doesn't have to be your story. You can have a different outcome if you so choose.
Yeah. And so when you're working with clients, tell me the thing that you think is most shocking to them. I mean, I have some thoughts because I'm always surprised about what I think people know and versus what they actually seem to know. So what are some of the things that you find that really surprise, clients about things that you've shared with them about health and
Okay.
epigenetics,
Well,
since you use the term?
um, okay. Well, the first thing that popped into my head, not specifically with epigenetics, maybe I guess it's a little connected, right? But I feel like I always go back to the same story of when I was working with a client and I was talking to her about introducing whole foods into her diets. And she's like, okay, what's that? And I'm like, like a whole food. Like, it seems so simple that I didn't know how to explain it any other way. I just kept repeating myself. I'm like, oh, I don't know, a whole food. She's like, what is that? And so, like, I thought that I was supposed to be in this space where I knew everything and I knew all the science and I knew about every disease and I could help you walk through it, when really what people need help with is like very fundamental things. So in that conversation with her and I, it was really honestly breaking down what is a whole food and literally explaining, you like an apple from the garden, not like an apple pop tart. Like, you want something that you grow, not something that was made in a manufacturing plant. And so, and I don't know, maybe that's not so mind blowing for them as it is for me, and maybe it's on both sides. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe that's mind blowing for them too. But I would say it's the little things
Mm-hmm.
that are really, I guess, monumental. I was just talking to someone the other day. They're going through the program right now, and she was saying that the program has allowed her to finally get into a place where she can have consistency. And she talked about being able to stay in the present moment and make these small changes.
Mm-hmm.
And for her, that was everything. That was the difference between the yo-yo dieting before and not being able to keep off the 20 pounds before. It was learning how to stay in the present moment and not make these lofty goals of, I want to lose 100 pounds this year and blah, blah, blah. It's more so, what am I going to do today? How am I going to show up today? What am I going to eat for lunch? Making those small shifts that are sustainable, that's what
Mm-hmm.
gets you consistency. That's what gets you progress and results, not making these year-long goals and a list of 45 things that you want to accomplish this year. So I would say that is, I guess that mindset shift is really pivotal for clients as well.
And that just makes me think of well, why do you think it's so hard for people to make behavior change? Like, I mean, you've experienced lots of different clients. What is the thing that keeps people from like actually either taking action or making progress before they get to us, and then after, what's sort of the changes that they may see after working with us?
I I'm gonna say mindset, and it's in multi different
I
in
knew
many
you were going to say that.
and it's in multiple ways. It's the mindset of like I was saying before, that victim mentality, right? Like, I've just always been overweight. I've never been able to lose weight. My mom's overweight. My dad's. It's just, we're big people. I've tried all these different diets. Nothing's worked for me. So it is what it is. There's that lane of people, and then there's the lane of people that's like, to that, I've tried everything. I do all the things. I eat healthy. I'm do keto, and I go to the gym every day, and I'm just not getting the results. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily think that they need to make a change because they're doing all the things. Um, so I would say mindset is the biggest thing, but for different reasons. And so having to meet those people where they are and do that shifting in how they think and see a situation, that's probably the biggest hurdle. And one thing that I realized in having to, I don't want to say deal with people, but working with people in this way is now understand why it doesn't matter if you're doing a speaker training program, if you're in real estate, if you go to business school, they always start with mindset. And I
Mm-hmm.
never understood that. I thought it was kind of cheesy and like, oh, okay, here we go. We're talking about mindset. But now I understand it, because literally it's like, if you're trying direction, mindset
Take the ball over the sink.
automatically are not set
Go
up for
get it.
success.
He kicked the ball over the thing and he has to go get it. Sorry. But
Oh yeah.
no, what you're saying is good. Don't let me disrupt you. Go ahead.
No, that was it. Like, if you're trying to go, east, and your mind is fixed on the west, then you can't even start making steps in the right direction. And so that's what I've had to learn, of why working with people through these mindset shifts is the first step, and why it is so important. It's not just cheesy or cliche or whatever to want to start with mindset. It's legitimately crucial, because your behavior and your actions are going to follow your beliefs. Like, there can only be an incongruency between the two for so long,
Mm-hmm.
because even if you are trying to make these surface the behavior changes, but your mindset is still in disbelief, or I don't really think this is going to work, but whatever. If that's really your mindset, then that incongruency between that and your actions will only last for so long, and then you're just going to default right back to your behaviors from before.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm really happy you brought that up, because it's something I have to remind myself about, even in my own life, about this idea of mindset. But what's one of the reasons why I love working with a health coach is because, for those people who've seen their doctors, right, and they're interested in like changing their health and they want to do it naturally, and they go to the doctor and their doctor's like, I want you to eat different, I want you to manage your stress, and I want you to, I don't know, exercise. Okay, so if you ignore the fact that people's mindsets are playing a role. Like, you have to kind of get over that hurdle first. If you ignore the fact that people don't know some of the basic things that they may need to know about whole foods, if we ignore the fact that people think that they're doing all the things but may not actually know the things that are actually going to push the button,
Mm-hmm.
if you have all of these things, who is the person who's supposed to help you get there? Like, who is it?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people think it's their doctor. And, you know, if you get a doctor who knows how to do those things, then you're great. But even if you do, then the question is, does your doctor have time to walk you through it? Does your doctor have time to like talk to you about your mindset and get you to a place where you can actually start to see the fruits of your labor? And so then you might say, oh, that person is your personal trainer, or that person might be your spiritual guidance or your therapist. And but there's a specific person who is trained to help you navigate this area of health. And that's what I love about working with you is that together we're able to make a really good team and being able to formulate a plan for people and then help them go through that plan down to the very first steps, which is mindset. And then we can build on that. So anyway, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
And just go ahead.
I agree with that part, and too, like the overwhelm that people feel, because I know even for me, like I've seen my dad like come home, right, with this long list of recommendations, and hey, this is what's going on with you. You can't have all of these foods. You can only eat from this list now, and see you later. Hope
Mm-hmm.
it goes well for you. And you know, he brings it home and he's like, I don't eat anything on here. I wouldn't even know how to cook this if I had to. Like I don't like that. I'm not gonna eat that. And so then what do
Mm-hmm.
you, they're typically going to default back to what they were doing before because they don't know otherwise. And so kind of to your point, if we're not talking about this in schools, if your doctors don't have the time, space, or opportunity to educate you in this way, our families don't know, where else are we supposed to get this information? I mean, people default to social media, and that's a black hole. So it's like being able to find like trusted people who can give you research back, scientific back information that's going to actually help you get to where you're trying to go. That's important. But I don't think that, honestly, I don't think that it comes to mind. Like I never thought about it before. I had never even heard of like health coaching before. I don't think I ever considered, um, hey, if I want to find better wellness, what do I do? Where do I turn? Who do I even talk to about that? I don't even think I considered it before. And I think that's where a vast majority of people are, unfortunately. So I think that a lot of education maybe has to happen first on what you're missing. Like you don't know what you don't know type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just quick questions about sort of maybe some stories or experiences you've had in your own health
Mm-hmm.
journey. And, you know, how did you navigate that as a person who's a health coach, but also as a person who is just like a regular person? You know, what are some of the challenges? What are some of the wins and the, you know, challenge? What did I say? Wins and your challenges. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say challenges would be when I first started this journey. Well, okay, I'll go wins first. When I first started this journey, and like I said, I had started doing the health coach training program, and I'm learning all of these things. It was the healthiest I guess I had ever been because of the intentionality that I was given to certain areas in my life. And one thing that they did is they had you start with this circle of life, right? And you basically rated different areas of your life: career, relationships, finances, whatever, scale of 1 to 10. And it was on like a circle, and you're supposed to like connect the dots, right? Well, the point is for you to have this nice big robust circle. So to see mine all small and you know jagged, it really helped to put in perspective where I was at that current moment. Like I felt really low, and I felt like a shell of myself, and I felt completely disconnected to who I was before and all these things. But to see it in that way, it really like highlighted it. And it was like, wow, okay. So right after that, then now learning all of these things and putting all this intentionality into myself and my health, it was the healthiest I had ever been. So it kind of like helped me to go from my lowest, like back up, right, to the state of normalcy. And so that was a big win, because I honestly don't think outside of that, I don't know how I would have brought myself out of the space that I was in. So that was a huge win. But I would say what was challenging is, okay, so now I'm done with the program. I'm not, consuming all of this content and putting all this intentionality into it anymore, right? Now I'm just living life. Well, I'm a single mom. Both of my kids are in diapers, and it's hard. I'm busy. I'm flying 3 to 4, maybe sometimes 5 days a week. I'm gone on the road because I was still a flight attendant at the time. So I'm busy. I am on the road, on the go all the time, right? And so I found myself in this space where it was like, okay, I know the things. I'm helping some people with the things, but I don't have the opportunity, or maybe I'm not making space for myself anymore like I was. And so now my health is suffering. My sleep is out of whack. I don't have a lot of time. I've been up since 3 a.m. and I've hit 3 different cities today, and then had to come back to Atlanta and drive 3 hours to get my boys and back home. And now it's 9:30 at night and they have to eat, and we're gonna get a frozen pizza. I don't have time for the kale and the quinoa tonight and to make something from scratch. We just need to eat, and I need them to eat something that I know they're gonna eat, and we need to go to sleep. So that was a very challenging season. And so I get when people are like, I don't have the time. I'm busy. I don't have the time for that. Well, I get that, and I get that overwhelm. And so I really try to meet people where they are in those moments. And I guess I'm glad that I had that experience, because I know what it's like trying to navigate when you have your plate is overflowing, right? Like some people, it might be an excuse of, oh, I just don't have the time. But some people, they really don't have the time. And so what I tell people in those spaces is, sometimes life is just gonna life, and we cannot change some things that are going on around us. And so in those spaces, the best thing to do is now we have to build up our resiliency so that we can have the fortitude to get up every day and defeat those giants. We know that they're coming. We can't do anything about it. So, okay, how do I prepare myself to be able to handle that? How do I make sure that I'm resilient enough to be able to deal with everything that's on my plate? So because of those challenges, I'm able to kind of meet people in that space and say, okay, how can we creatively deal with this and still get you to your goals?
No, you said so many things, and I wish I had a pen because I keep wanting to write things down. But, I think the first thing that you had talked about is intentionality.
Yeah.
And I can't, we've said it a lot of times, and it almost starts to sound like a broken record. And even when I say it out of my mouth, I'm like, people, because let me just tell you a quick story. So when people find out what I do, they hit me with a really like quick question, right? It's usually something that they expect a quick answer to. So today the question was, hey, I'm having issues with my hair. What supplement can I take? Or somebody might say, I'm trying to come up with something. I have odor issues. What thing can I do? What's the one thing I can do? And it's hard for me to answer these questions. And you can get a good TikTok on what supplements you can take for hair growth. You could get a really quick answer in a lot of different places. But the difference for me is that I always tell people it's your intention. If your intention is to have healthier hair, then we need to talk about the things that cause healthier hair. It isn't a one supplement. It isn't the one thing. It's your intention about what you're trying to achieve that allows you to create an environment where your hair can grow. And that seems so esoteric, but even for when you made that example of, people are very, very busy and they feel overwhelmed and they can't do all the things. And if your intention is to be healthy, then you can be healthy in any situation but it may not look like what you think it should look like. It may not be that you're having quinoa every day, right? It may be that you're having that pizza, but you aren't feeling stressed about it, right? That too is health.
Mm-hmm.
It may be that you aren't sleeping the way that you want to, but you are going to be damn sure to do some gratitude when you are waking up in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so there's so many different layers that really play a role in the overall picture of health, that it isn't really a quick fix all the time. And so if you got the intention down, everything else becomes, I don't want to say easy, but everything that you do is going to point in the direction of
Mm-hmm.
health if your intention is truly to live in a healthy way. Even if certain decisions or behaviors that you have on occasions aren't technically
Yeah.
healthy, right? So I love all of that what you said, because it just reminds me that the process of finding health is a
Mm-hmm.
process. It's a journey. It's not an answer. Like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
have answers for you. I don't have the solution or the cure. What I have is a process that's going to get you to where you want to be. And it's going to look like a lot of different things to a lot of different people. That's why you need specific goals, specific strategies for specific people, and you need support.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's what we out here trying to do. We're trying to support people to live their best life. So anyway, now I'm off my soapbox. Anything else you want to say before we go play with our children for the
Yeah, I
night?
mean, that point, and that's what I tell people. I'm not the expert. I don't have all the answers. Like, this is your life. You are the expert. You have more insight than I do. I don't have it all figured out. My health journey is up and down and figuring it out. And so I never come from a place of I have arrived and I'm gonna show you how to arrive. No, we're gonna try it. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, let's reconfigure and let's re-strategize and try something else. But we're gonna walk through that process together. And it can be difficult, yes, because it's going to require something of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to require to show up, and for some people that is challenging, especially as Black women. That's kind of foreign to us. We can show up for everybody else, but when it comes to showing up for ourselves, it's like, nah, we don't see it as valuable or something.
Or urgent.
Yeah, it's not as important, because everybody else comes first, making sure everybody else is good. But at the end of the day, although it can be challenging, it's worth it. And it's worth it because if you ever lost someone, right, to sickness or disease or something like that, and you felt that pain and you've had to walk through that, then to know that the story could have been different, to know that you could either go that way or a different way, it's worth it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is worth it, especially when you think about it in those terms. And so, yeah, that's what I would say, is that it's worth it. And it's not going to happen until you decide to be
Mm-hmm.
decided. It's not just going to fall in your lap. It's going to require you to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And until you're ready for that, that's really the first step, which kind of goes back to mindset.
It all starts with mindset.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good place to sort of end it. But I think that I'm just grateful that we have each other. I'm grateful that we have community,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to continue to create community for other people to be able to ask questions and get the support that they're looking for. And so we'll continue to show up every Tuesday at 6:30, live Q&A and YouTube and programs and all the things. So thanks, Chatela. Have a good night.
You too. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.